Coming up next on NSEN, the Middle Tennessee basketball teams were back in action last week as the women took on traditional powerhouse Louisiana Tech and the men took on Old Dominion and Charlotte on the road in a quest for conference supremacy.
High school basketball is reaching a fever pitch here in the borough. Find out who is at the top of the standings as well as who won this week's version of the NSEN High School Game of the Week between Riverdale and Blackman.
Make sure not to forget about that Super Bowl, Vic. The Philadelphia Eagles took on the New England Patriots in a battle to become world champions. Stay tuned for a Super Bowl edition with X's with X.
All those stories and more. NSEN starts right now. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Victor Benz.
And I'm Jonas H. Welcome to NSEN.
The men's basketball team continued conference play this past Thursday as they traveled to Virginia to face CUSA 2 seed Old Dominion. This matchup put the top two defenses in the CUSA against each other, but it seemed no one sent Antoine Johnson a memo. In the first half, Johnson put up 14 points, going 2 for 2 from downtown. For ODU, Randy Haynes and Ahmad Carver both put up 9 points apiece. Although MTSU shot 50% from the field, held Old Dominion to 38%, the team was still tied at 33 going into the locker room. Even though Johnson had only 4 points in a quiet second half, it was still enough to give him his season high in scoring with 18 points. Nick King also showed up big, notching his 6th double-double of the season with 17 points and 11 rebounds. The Blue Raiders went on to win this competitive bout 66 to 59. The Blue Raiders traveled to Charlotte for the second half of their road trip to take on the 49ers. To many, this was thought to have been an easy W for MT. However, the Raiders learned quickly to never overlook any opponent in conference play. With Giddy going down in the first half to injury, someone needed to step up to the plate, and that someone was Antoine Johnson. For the second game in a row, Johnson started the game on fire from the field. The Blue Raiders held a 42-33 lead going into the half. But the second proved to be a roller coaster ride. The 49ers went on a series of runs, one of which included John Davis, guard, Jr., going for 10 straight points. Even with MT being outscored in the half, Nick King's stellar second frame proved to be too much for Charlotte to handle. King's second straight double-double led MTSU to the 78-73 win. This victory gave MT their 10th true road win on the season, which leads the nation. With yet another exciting weekend of play behind us, and with the season beginning to wind down, let's take a look at the current Conference USA standings. MTSU sitting pretty at number 1 seed yet again, with rival Western Kentucky not too far behind at number 2. After their loss to the Blue Raiders, ODU drops to number 3 in the conference, followed by Marshall and North Texas. Coming up in the 6th spot is UAB, followed by UTSA, FIU, Louisiana Tech, and rounding off the top 10 is Southern Miss.
And while the men are having success, the women were looking to take on La Tech on the court this past Thursday to keep up with the top teams in Conference USA. Things started ugly for MTSU, as early in the game, Katie Collier went down with a body injury. Thankfully, she did return later in the game, posting 5 points and dishing out 2 assists. Meanwhile, for the Lady Texers, Taylor Stolley hit 3 three-pointers, including this one right here to bring the team back in the lead, 15-14. Kiera Anthony was the star of the game, however, with 20 points on 6 for 11 shooting, as well as 2 steals, including this one right here coming up to increase the lead to 7 late in the third quarter. And I mean, that was just one of the 20 turnovers for the Lady Raiders, allowing 25 points off of them. MTSU has continued to struggle giving up the ball all season, ranking dead last in assist to turnover ratio. Alex Johnson and Rebecca Reuter both gave valiant efforts, having 13 and 9 points respectively. Ultimately, though, La Tech made 25 of their 35 possible free throws to seal the victory over MTSU, 66-49. When speaking to head coach Rick Insell, he made aware of the struggles they had on the court.
You know, if you're going to win games in this conference, at home or on the road, you got to hit free throws, you got to rebound the basketball, and you got to play some defense. And we let them get too much in our interior on defense, and that's the first time that we've done that this year also.
MTSU will look to get back on track this Thursday against Florida Atlantic. And Vic, while MTSU men's team was sitting pretty at first, the women's team, not so much. As you can see here in the conference women's basketball standings, the Lady Raiders sitting at 5th in the conference. They were projected to win the preseason poll back all the way, in the preseason poll. They were favored to win it all. Unfortunately, however, that hasn't happened with a lot of injuries happening to MTSU. Meanwhile, UAB and WKU sitting at 1st and 2nd in the conference, both winning 5 straight games. Now, of course, UAB holds the tiebreaker over Western Kentucky with a 79-61 victory back in January 13th.
Still ahead on NSEN, we'll have you covered on all things high school sports in Rutherford County, including the NSEN High School Game of the Week. We will give you a review on what happened during the Battle of the Borough next on NSEN.
Chef Patty here. Why should you include avocados as part of your family's balanced diet? It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Number 1. Avocados fill you up. Avocados contain unsaturated fats, good fats your body needs to help with the absorption of key nutrients.
Me hungry right now.
Number 2.
Avocados are good for you.
Avocados are naturally cholesterol and sodium free, plus they contain nearly 20 vitamins and nutrients.
Me need vitamins and nutrients. And number 3, avocado delicious.
Try avocados in place of ingredients higher in saturated fat. Avocados taste great in sandwiches, salads, and even in baked goods like cookies.
Avocado cookies. This match made in heaven.
This is your new kitten, or your new puppy. Every day, 70,000 puppies and kittens just like them are born in the U.S. Cute, right? Well, what's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents. And when a kitten has a litter of oopsies and a puppy has a litter of uh-ohs, pretty soon you have thousands and thousands of OMGs. And that leads to millions of pets being killed in shelters each year. But if 80% of pet owners say they believe in spaying and neutering, then what gives? Well, it turns out those sweet little fuzzballs can get pregnant sooner than you think. A lot sooner. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. You just have to remember one number. 4, as in 4 months. When you bring home Maggie or Ruby or Puddle or Clyde, get them fixed at 4 months. It can be old enough to get pregnant, and it's definitely young enough to make a difference. Prevent more, fix at month 4.
The NSEN High School Game of the week was last Friday, and our reporters David James and Darius Horton gave their thoughts on how both games went for both Riverdale and Blackman.
Yeah, that's right, and we just got done with the Battle of the Borough between the Blackman Blaze and the Riverdale Warriors. Now first, we had the women's game. We had the Lady Warriors versus the Lady Blaze of Blackman. And I can say that this was honestly a one-sided game.
It really was. Riverdale they were just beating the butts out of Blaze against Blackman. It didn't seem like Blackman was there for the game. It felt like they were there to take the beating, it felt like.
Yeah, it's like when some people say like a squash game, but that's what it felt like what this was. But we just can't deny that the fact that the Lady Warriors are really coached by a great coach.
They are 23-1. They only lost one game, which was in a tournament. They're undefeated in conference play, so they're one of the best teams in the conference, and they're likely to go to the state championship yet again for another year.
Well, it's a big rival game. You got 2 of the better programs in the state of Tennessee, and to line up and see the atmosphere that you have out here, you get a kind of a tournament preview from an atmosphere standpoint as to how it's going to be here in about 2 weeks. So great effort out of our kids. Real proud of the way they played tonight. The focus level was outstanding.
Now let's go back to the men's team. Now the men's, it was a better game, you know. It still felt like it was a blowout, but Riverdale kind of gave them a little of a challenge. Blackman's still one of the better teams in the conference. They're number one. I think the number one team for boys basketball for the state of Tennessee. I'm not sure yet, but they're undefeated for the league right now. They're undefeated so far in the season, and they're of course they're number one in their conference, which is very, very much approved of. We had who was the player of the game for today, Darius?
Oh yeah, Trent Gibson was the player of the game today. This man had 23 points today?
I think it was 23 points.
Yeah, okay, see, and one thing I did notice that this is back-to-back games where Trent Gibson has scored 20 points or more. So in 2 games, he scored, in the first game against Stewart's Creek, he scored 20 points and added 7 rebounds. In this game, he scored 23 points.
He played well tonight, but to be quite honest with you, that's just how he carries himself. You know, he didn't always play as well, but his purpose and his commitment to play the game the right way is very consistent. It makes us an awfully good basketball team.
As I said earlier, the Blackman men's team undefeated in their entire league, 24-0, good enough for second in the state. Meanwhile, the Riverdale women's team, not only first in the state, but fourth in the nation, having a 24-1 record. Going across the rest of Rutherford County men's scores, Oakland defeated Stewart's Creek 65-35. Laverne defeated Siegel 69-58. Smyrna defeated Shelbyville 62-34.
Blackman is now 10-0 in the district, 24-0 overall. And note that Blackman is number 2 in the state behind East Tennessee. Oakland is now 9-2 in the district, 17-7 overall. Riverdale is now 6-3 in the district, 19-4 overall. Siegel is now 4-5 in the district, 14-10 overall. Laverne is now 3-8 in the district, 10-11 overall record. Stewart's Creek is now 2-8 in the district, 4-22 overall. Smyrna is now 1-9 in the district, 8-12 overall.
Now going on to the girls' side of Rutherford County basketball, Riverdale defeated Blackman, as you saw, 83-42. No contest on that one. Stewart's Creek beat up on Oakland 44-40, and Laverne had 2 games that past week, losing the first one to Siegel 53-26, and then beating Lighthouse Christian Antioch 59-24. Shelbyville defeated Smyrna 76-37.
And Riverdale is now 9-0 in the district, 24 with only 1 loss in overall play. Note that Riverdale is number 1 in the state and number 4 in the country, according to Max Preps. Stewart's Creek is now 8-2 in the district, 18-3 overall. Oakland 7-4 in the district, 16-7 overall. Big Blackman is now 5-4 in the district, 13-10 overall. Siegel is now 4-5 in the district, 5-18 overall. Laverne is now 1-9 in the district, 2-13 overall. Smyrna, 0-10 in district and 0-19 overall.
The numbers say it there. Hopefully Smyrna can get a win before the season ends.
Hopefully.
And as the race for the regular season district title continues, NSEN will head to Oakland High School for coverage of the number 1 team in the state, the Blackman Blaze, as they take on the 24th ranked Oakland Patriots in next week's NSEN High School Game of the Week. Stick around after the commercial break, because coming up next, we have your Middle Tennessee tennis update. The men and the women were both in action over the weekend. Stick around to find out how your Blue Raiders fared.
And don't forget about our Super Bowl recap in this week's X's with X. So please don't change that channel, folks.
Everyone.
Todos. When a future homeowner partners with Habitat for Humanity to build or improve a home, they build a better future for themselves and their families.
For my family.
Para po sa pamilya ko.
Por mi familia.
With a little help, we all have the potential to stand on our own. Through shelter, we empower. Visit Habitat.org to provide help to families like these today.
Time is the one thing that we want more of as a St. Jude parent. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we gonna do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
They take care of our housing. They take care of our food. in addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
And give wishes wings. Because wishes work wonders.
Welcome back to NSEN. I'm Jonas H. alongside here with Vic Binns. MTSU tennis is off to a hot start this season, beating Power 5 teams and showing their dominance all across their opponents. With all that and more on the team, we'll give it to Nathan.
Hey, thanks, Jonas. I really appreciate that. Well, it's been a very up and down week for both the MT men's team and the MT women's team. Let's get it started with the MT men's team. They had a 2-game away stretch this weekend along the East Coast. Let's get it started going down to our nation's capital on Friday, taking on the Colonels of George Washington. And unlike the traffic in D.C., this one was a breeze for the Blue Raiders. They took this one 7-0, a clean sweep. Get your brooms out for this one. The only match that went 3 sets was Tom Moonan's match in singles. The rest of them, straight sets victories for the Blue Raiders. Let's take it out to Sunday into New York City, home of the U.S. Open in the St. John's Red Storm. The Red Storm proved to be a tougher challenge this time around, this one going 5-2 in favor of the Blue Raiders. It was Gonzalo Morel, Chris Edge, Jean Issa among the winners for the Blue Raiders. They taking, of course, moving up now to 8-2 on the season, and they have a tough opponent this Friday. They get the Hoosiers of Indiana. Indiana 2-3 on the year, but do not let that record fool you, friends, because they have played some tough competition, including coming off a 5-2 win over Arizona last week. Now, while it was a great week for the MT men's tennis team, the women's tennis team had a very tough slate of games. They played the undefeated Louisville Cardinals, as well as an NCAA tournament appearance last year from the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Let's get it started with Louisville on Friday. Again, like I said, Cardinals, they're undefeated coming into this one, and it turned out to be a very tight affair. It was the doubles point that proved to be the decider in the end, as both teams split singles 3-3. The Cardinals unfortunately taking this one, so Louisville winning overall 4-3 with the doubles point. That's the first time all year that the MTSU women's tennis team has lost at the Adams Tennis Complex. So they were looking for revenge on Sunday when they played Tulsa. Now, Tulsa beat MT last year 6-1. Unfortunately, more of the same this year for the Blue Raiders, losing 4-1 to Tulsa. It was Zani Barnard, the only winner at the number 6 singles spot for MTSU. She won that one 6-3, 6-2. Now, this is the first time all year that the MT women's tennis team has lost back-to-back in consecutive matches. Not a good thing. That moves their record down to 5-3. Not what you want to see, but I have great news for you guys because they have a doubleheader this Friday at the Adams Tennis Complex, and they have 2 really good chances to get back in the win column. They have UT Martin at 10 a.m. and they have Sanford at 2 p.m. Should be, again, a great opportunity for the women's team to pick up some wins. By the way, they also have free chips and salsa burritos and t-shirts being handed out. And again, this is all on the same day as the men's tennis team plays Indiana at 6 p.m. No reason you shouldn't show out and see a great tennis team, men's and women's. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nathan. And I heard something about burritos, so I'm all in for that one. You'll see me there.
Still to come on this tonight's show, I keep hearing something about some big game over the weekend.
Not MTSU related, so I wouldn't know.
I'm not sure. Whatever it was for the World Championship, and it's all coming up next on the Super Bowl edition with X's with X. So please, stay tuned.
I never imagined this would be your first home.
I feel powerless. I can't stop asking why us.
I just want to hug and kiss you and never let go.
This is the hardest thing we've ever faced. I know it's even harder on you.
You are my little fighter. We're here with you.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words. But to a child in need, they mean the world. When you support a child through Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org/believe today.
We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, I mean, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. There's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
To pose, now shush. She makes the sound see, makes me deep in the North Sea.
Okay, so.
Welcome back to NSEN and welcome to X's with X. I'm your host, Xavier Dupree. And this past weekend, it was a pretty big game. Super Bowl 52 between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. Let's get into some highlights. First drive of the game, Nick Foles in the shotgun, drops back, rolls to his left, and hits Alshon Jeffrey with a nice gain. The Eagles will go down to kick a field goal to take the lead. Tom Brady coming right back. Hits James White, and he runs down the sideline. The Patriots will go down and tie the game up 3 apiece. Now here we go. Later in the first quarter, Nick Foles, play action pass, looking, going deep. Alshon Jeffrey for the touchdown. The Eagles go up 10-3 over the New England Patriots. Now here we go. Nick Foles with the ball again. Hands off to LeGarrette Blount. And he rumbles and stumbles for 6 more points for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles go up 15-6. Nick Foles one more time. Going deep, looking for a 6'4" receiver again. And it's tipped and batted, picked off by the New England Patriots. He returns it out to the 9-yard line. Tom Brady comes back on the field. Now Tom Brady hands the ball off to James White, and he scoots and scurries. Good, tough, hard running by James White. 6 points for the New England Patriots. The Patriots come within 3. There we go, late in the second quarter. Trick play. Nick Foles for 6 points. The Eagles go up at halftime 22-12. New England gets the ball, come out the half, and goes right down the field. Brady to Rob Gronkowski for 6 points. 22-19. Nick Foles drops back, looking, throws Corey Clement for 6 points. The Eagles go up. Now it's 32-26. Tom Brady to his favorite receiver, Rob Gronkowski. Ronald Darby, you're too little. 6 more points. Zach Ertz, 6 points, touchdown, Eagles. The Eagles go up 38-33. Here we go, Tom Brady dropping back, trying to make a comeback. And he stripped and sacked Derek Barnett from the University of Tennessee with the recovery. And with one last-ditch effort, Tom Brady makes a man miss, throwing for the Hail Mary, going deep, and is batted down by the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles deny Tom Brady of his 6th Super Bowl championship, and in doing so, bring the first Super Bowl championship to the franchise. Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, all them boys get their Super Bowl championship. They get to bring that Lombardi trophy back to Philadelphia. Now, you remember that trick play the touchdown pass to Nick Foles, we're going to go ahead and break that down right now. Now, Nick Foles is going to come up and act like he's making an audible to his offensive line, and he sets right on the tackle. As he does that, the center direct snaps to running back Corey Clement, who comes to the near side. As he does that, he flips it to former Florida quarterback Trey Burton on the reverse, and Nick Foles leaks out for the touchdown. Now, as the play runs, you'll watch all this action happen. Nick Foles comes up, he's talking. Direct snap, here comes Trey Burton, and Nick Foles is wide open for a receiving touchdown in the Super Bowl. This extended the lead for the Philadelphia Eagles going into the halftime, 22-12. And now, we're going to get into some of our takeaways from the game. First things first, the defense was terrible. These two defenses gave up the most yards in any NFL game history, giving up over 1,100 yards of total offense. Now, the Eagles' defense is considerably better than the Patriots' defense. The Eagles' defense was considered one of the best in the league all year, and they gave up 600 yards of total offense to the Patriots. Tom Brady had 500 yards passing. I'm talking about just he did whatever he wanted back there. The Eagles had no answer for him. Now, sticking with the Patriots, I feel like Bill Belichick blew the game for the New England Patriots 2 days ago. Now, number one, they didn't play Malcolm Butler, who was arguably your best defensive player and your best cover corner. They started Eric Rowe. He starting off guarding Alshon Jeffrey. He got torched for a touchdown. They switched Stephon Gilmore to him. Makes no sense why Bill Belichick didn't play him. But in all, Doug Peterson stayed aggressive in the game, continued to keep his foot on the Patriots' throat, and that's why the Eagles are sitting here now as Super Bowl 52 champions. Now, let's take it on back to the desk.
Appreciate that, X, and that was a great Super Bowl indeed. But speaking of big games, MTSU, we're winding down the season, and this week on the Before We Go segment, we're going to talk just a little bit about a big game against Rice coming up on Thursday.
Absolutely, and of course, coming down the stretch, Rice not really doing so well in Conference USA standings, but that's the definition of a trap game right there, especially against Charlotte. Last 5 minutes down the stretch, they almost blew that lead. They got to make sure to contain that offense, make sure they put that nationally ranked defense on the spot, and make sure to at least get some of that offense starting to get back. Antoine Johnson, as you said, past 2 games, been elite. So it'll be interesting to see if Johnson can continue that streak. Of course, speaking of MTSU, they're a 10 seed in the Joe Lunardi bracketology, so that's going to be something interesting to look at down the stretch as well.
All right. And thank you guys for joining us for another week of NSEN. I'm Victor Benz.
And I'm Jonas Sage. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be here same time, same place, same sports love.